I'm from Bolton.
Nice.
I've always wanted to meet you.
Well, we've done it virtually, mate. So there you go.
Thank
Can't
you.
ask more than that. No worries, my mate.
So what I'm going to do now is
Meet me dinner, Dill.
I'm going to bring some people on the call, and then we'll get people starting to ask some questions. So you can raise a hand on Zoom if you put that, and I'll admit you on and then let you ask a question. So who wants to ask some questions? Right,
Yeah,
so I'm going to answer the screen now. Hey, Dylan.
Yeah. I'd like to ask George a question. George Sampson.
One big deal. What you got for me?
How many Butlins resorts have you been to perform?
How many Butlins resorts? Loads, mate. Loads. No, that's a lie. I've done 3, but I've done them loads of times.
Nice one.
No worries, Dill.
Thank you, Dylan. Let's bring on now. We've got Emily. So I'm just going to bring Emily onto the screen. Hi, Emily.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, good, thanks. Well, you can ask questions to whoever you like.
Shut up. Who would you say you are the most likely?
Put their microphones on mute because we can hear some background sound. So if we can mute our microphones so the guests can ask the questions, that would be awesome. Thank you.
Okay.
Cheers, guys. Sorry, Emily.
Hi. My question would be, out of all the characters on Waterloo Road, who would you say was most like you in school?
Oh, Anna, you start that one off.
Lord. Hi everyone, by the way. Hi. I would say one of the quite good girls, to be honest. Maybe Emily at the start when she first joined, because she was quite good and kind of kept to herself. But yeah, probably Emily at the start.
What about Darcy? What about you? You're on mute there. There we go.
There we go. I knew it was going to come to me next, and I don't have a clue. I would say, let me think off the top of my head. I would probably say, so in terms of what I would probably have the friendship that Lucy Dixon and Lauren had. So I think one of their characters was called Alicia. I can't remember the other character's name, which is so bad. But I'd say me and my friend Emma in school remind me of them two the most, just the dynamic that they both had. So I would go with those 2 characters.
And Sadie, what about you?
Oh gosh, this is really hard. I think I don't want to say Flick, but I was quite like a goodie. I was a bit of a good. I used to get called SWAT at school. I was quite good, apart from like her when she had her wild streak, and I think probably similar to her. And then actually, what Darcy said as well. Sorry to like tag on to your answer, but that friendship with the girls, I definitely had that at school. Yeah, it's a hard one. It's so long ago. It's like I feel so old thinking about school.
What about George?
George, is that playing this? No. No.
This is fantastic.
George, what about you? What's your answer for that question?
I don't know. definitely not like Kyle. We weren't shooting anyone, that's for sure. But I don't know. None of them really. I was a bit of a quiet kid, me. Just showed up at the school disco, a couple of knee slides, and that was it. Weren't really that popular, to be honest.
Well, Emily, thank you so much for getting your question in. And now we've got Naomi, who's going to ask a question. By the way, if Reece Douglas is on the call, can you put a message in the chat, then I could put you on the pin screen. So, Naomi, if you'd like to ask your question.
Hi. I am such a massive fan. I've watched it from the very beginning. Out of all the storylines that have been done, which one would you have loved to have been a part of?
So, Anna, we'll start with you for that one.
You got it in for me tonight, Lewis.
You're the first one on there.
Of all the storylines ever, there's so many good ones.
Oh my baby.
I don't know. There's so many. It's so hard. I quite like season 5 with Jenna Coleman's storyline. And I've forgotten what her character's name was, but with the whole when she killed her dad and it all came out at the end, and that scene in the courtroom was pretty.
We're getting some cool. I mean, Reece is on. I think that's Reece's way of saying hello. Reece is joining.
No, I didn't say shit. I didn't say nothing.
That's hilarious.
Darcy, what about you? Going in order. What's your answer to Naomi's question?
Maybe not a storyline as such, but I just loved all of the storylines the Kelly family were involved in. I thought they were so good. I think they were the best family I think that's ever been in that show. So credit to Reece, who's on the bottom of the screen. So yeah, and I think if there was a character storyline that I would have gone with in it, I think it would have been Earl Kelly's. I just think it was so complex, it was so good, it was so mega. So I think, yeah, not a storyline as such, but just that how they followed that family, I thought was brilliant.
I would have gone with the Coachcraft personally. I think that was brilliant. The way they wrote that character off was unbelievable.
Yeah, especially your exit.
God, mate, it's unbelievable. Don't know. Definitely number one storyline.
That surprised me more, Reece.
Every storyline is amazing.
Oh, bless you.
Didn't even realise you were leaving until you actually left.
I didn't realise I was leaving either till I was on the train to Cardiff.
Oh, they don't get me started.
Yeah, that like annoyed me when I heard it, to be honest. I was like, what?
So, Sadie, we'll go over to you now so we can make sure we can get as many questions asked as possible. So what about you?
Well, I love that first series because I remember I was watching that. When I auditioned for Flick, I was watching that first series and I thought it was so good, and I loved the head teacher, and also I loved Lauren Drummond's character Mika. And Tom Payne, like that relationship was really cool. But I guess maybe the storyline with Maxine and Earl, and when she died, that was really sad.
My favorite storyline.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go with that one. And
Jules?
Sam Kelly dying as well. Like, all the deaths.
That made me
Sam
sad.
was so sad, man. I cried for days after that.
Yeah,
that was a sad one. That.
I've gone quite dark with my storylines, but yeah,
I'm gonna go the complete opposite of Sadie and just say I actually quite like the scenes I did. If I'm being honest, I got to smash cars up and smash the school up, so I was 18 and a bit of an idiot. So.
Do you remember when we got to drink pints of water underneath the school, George? Just bare Coca-Cola.
Oh, it was horrible. Flavoured water.
Mate, you were in your element there. You used to bring cans of Coke in, and then it was all free. You were like, what?
Oh my God, you remember how many cans of Coke you used to bring in?
I used to go, honestly, how I never got sponsored.
Wow. Naomi, thank you so much for getting your question in. And we've got Andy.
Is Chelsea joining?
No, not on this one, unfortunately.
How long have you been doing like show interviews for, Lewis?
What was that, sorry?
How long have you been doing like show interviews for different TV shows?
Recently, yeah, this is only a recent thing, the reunions. So we've got loads more coming up and more Waterloo Road stuff, which is cool. And if you've missed my solo chats with all these people,
Lewis is more of a celebrity than half of us now.
Yeah, exactly.
Andy, are you there?
Yeah, hiya.
Hey, what's your question?
Hey. Hi, guys. Oh my goodness, she's like so good. Sorry, I'm just so giddy. If any of you guys could have been one of the teachers, whether it be male or female, which one would you have been?
Right, just because Anna, I don't want to think she's getting picked on. I'm going to go to Reece first for that one.
Sorry, what was that, Lewis?
Going over to you now, Andy. Do you want to ask Reece a question?
Yeah, I think for everyone, but if you could have been any of the teachers, whether it would be male or female, which one would it have been?
Probably Grantley Budgeon.
Yeah,
he's just an absolute OG, to be honest with you. Like he's just everything about him just screams humour. Like he can do the smallest thing and have everyone in hysterics, and even on the hardest days and some days when we felt down, like he was just always light in the mood. He's such a nice guy.
He seems so.
I've met him. He's really nice.
He's funny, like moody but funny at the same time.
He is. He's amazing. What a guy.
So what I'm going to do is, just so we can get through as many people as possible, we'll try and just have one answer for those. So let's bring on now Lola. Hi, Lola. Who's your question for? Oh, you're on mute at the moment. You need to just click unmute and then you can ask your question.
It's for Darcy Isa.
Hi.
Hello. What's your favorite part of Waterloo Road?
As in, like my favorite part on the show, or just in general?
In general.
In general.
Yeah.
Well, so obviously my favorite part of it was just obviously making the show and getting to meet everybody that I did.
Yeah.
And just the kind of, obviously we spoke about in the initial interviews that we did, that it just kind of wasn't like work, it was just good fun, and just like creating the family that we did there. I'd say that was my favorite part.
Who's your favorite staff?
My favorite storyline that I did.
The teachers.
Favorite teacher.
My favorite teacher.
Yes.
Well, my favorite teacher in terms of their character, not obviously just their as a person, but I think my favorite teacher in it on the show, I would say, is Tom Clarkson, because I just think he's like Chelsea's Mrs. Waterloo Road. I think Tom Clarkson is Mr. Waterloo Road.
Thank you very much, Lola, for asking your questions. Charlie, we're going to bring you on to ask. I mean, you've asked many questions to Waterloo Roadcast yourself, but who would you like to ask your question to?
Hi, so I've got a question for Darcy. Obviously, like, she dated Josh, but who else could you see Lauren with?
Oh. I would probably say Kyle George. Do you agree?
Yeah.
I would say Kyle, just because I feel like she's got like that streak of mischief in her, but also she might have calmed him down.
I love that. Yeah. Thanks, Charlie. And who's on next, by the way, out of your Waterloo Road interviews?
I've got Luke this week, who played Marley.
Sadie's other half. Charlie, you're absolutely smashed it. I know you've had Reece on the show as well, so keep doing what you're doing, because everyone's loving it.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, congratulations as well to you.
Thank you.
You're doing.
Absolute legend. Maria, we're going to bring on now, who I believe is an admin on the huge Waterloo Road Facebook page. Hi, Maria.
Hello.
It is you, by the way, isn't it? There's like an admin on the page, or have I got that wrong?
Yeah, it is, yeah.
Awesome.
This is a question for all of them. Ladies, can I just say you look beautiful? If we did get a series 11, do you think your character would have returned?
Reece.
If what?
If your character obviously didn't die off, do you think you would have returned after leaving?
I think Waterloo Road covered that many storylines. Would have to do some type of like risen from the dead storyline for me to come back. But I don't reckon the producers would have had it anyway.
I think you could definitely come back. What about you, George?
No way. No way. Nah, I don't know, man. I can't see them writing Kyle back into it. It's all. Also, if I don't join it, give someone else the chance to do it. So let them do it. Let someone else be the bad guy. I'm done with it. I'm done. Kyle's done out here.
Maria, thank you very much. The next person I'm going to bring on, I hope I'm pronouncing this right. Is it Neem? Neem? Am I saying that right?
Yeah.
Hey, how are you?
Sorry, that's an Irish name for it. So my question's for Reece. And first of all, I just want to say I study digital marketing at university, and a lot of the work you do tends to help me out for ideas for slides and stuff. So yeah, thanks for that. But
You're welcome.
the question for you is, if you could have written any other storyline you wish the Kelly family would have done, what would it be and why?
Oh wow, bloody hell! I think half of that was probably the script writer's job to write storylines, but probably not to make Denzel so thick. I know he had some learning difficulties. I think he was, what's it called when you can't dyslexic. He's dyslexic in the show, yeah. But I think in some respects he should have been a lot more streetwise than he made out to be. So I would have liked to have seen that. I think he did get led down the wrong path a lot of the times by obviously Earl. But I would have liked him to be a bit more be a bit more streetwise and use his intuition more. But we never really got a glimpse of that.
Yeah, I guess. I don't have honest you are in these interviews as well. It's really refreshing to see.
Say that again, sorry.
I love how honest you are in these interviews. It's really refreshing to see.
Oh, thank you. Honesty is the best policy.
Definitely.
Neem, thank you so much. You'll get to watch this back when it goes on YouTube. So thank you for asking your question. We're going to go over now to Chris Townsend. So you should be popping up on the screen now. If you'd like to click unmute and then ask your question.
Right, well, first of all, Lewis, thank you so much for doing this. Absolute genius for bringing this together. Waterloo Road is a very beautiful drama series, which I think, quite frankly, you can never rewrite because the characters, everything it stands for is fantastic. My question for everyone in the cast, because I can't remember names because I'm terrible with names, what was your most memorable moment of Waterloo Road and why? Because there were so many characters there, which I think for me personally, the one that really hit me the most was when Granny Budgeon said on his final goodbye to Fleur, when obviously she has the beginning symptoms of Alzheimer's, and then she passes away peacefully. That really that caught me so hard, because I know just how difficult it must be living with Alzheimer's, and then I know someone in my family who did have it. But what was it that you'd say in your way was the most memorable scene that you've shot?
Well, if we head over to Anna for that one, and then we'll go to Sadie just to see what you guys are saying. So Anna, what's your answer to that question?
The most memorable scene that I shot was probably from my first episode, when I was in the moors in the middle of doing a night shoot, and it was freezing. It was just so surreal, like being there, and I think that's when I first realised the show. So yeah, I think that one probably.
And Sadie, what about you? You got to unmute your mic, Sadie.
Sorry.
There we go.
Hi, thank you for that question, Chris. I think, do you remember the scene where Marley and I were on the estate and under that like archway, and it was where I went through so many dumpings. He dumped me like 4 times. I had to like log which dumping it was. But there was a kind of like a special scene there where we had a moment, and all the kids on the estate were all gathering around and sitting on the arch, and it was just that felt like a special moment that I look back on and remember. And then also the scene where any of the scenes with my dad, like especially the one with the end where he demolishes the school, he was such an incredible actor. And it's so sad. I think somebody mentioned earlier about him. He sadly passed away, but he was such a lovely person. He played such a horrible character, and a difficult father figure, but he was such a nice man. So I'm gonna say one of the scenes with him as well.
His, you know, to play a character like that who is hated, and the fact that, you know, you had such a difficult relationship with him because you wanted to be with Marley, but then he wouldn't allow it because he was protective of you. That has got to be one of the hardest, not one of the most difficult roles to play, a dad cares for your daughter, and then all of a sudden it just goes completely out of control. But yeah, I completely forgot he was the actor who passed away. But what a legend. This is the thing about Waterloo Road, the actors and the stars that come out of it. Lindsay Coleman and everything as such is just super. And honestly, I just love it. So thank you for asking my question.
Chris, you're an absolute legend. Thank you very much. Next, we've got Sean. Sean, I think I'm saying that right. How are you?
Yeah, hi, I'm all right. Watching this back, I'm going to be like, what the fuck am I on?
Who's your question for?
This is open to everyone on the cast. Which scene did you have to reshoot because you couldn't stop like laughing or something because of like something had happened?
That's an epic question. I love that. Should we go to Darcy and then we'll go to George?
Me, thank you for your question. Laughing wise, I actually can't remember a specific one because there was so many ones. But I think I told Lewis about this in my personal interview. I think the funniest moment, well, probably for the crew to watch back of what happened to me, was when we had to film when me and Holly, so Holly who played Sambuca, we had to film us on the Pepsi Max, and I'm terrified of roller coasters. I can't stand them. And obviously, seeing as Waterloo Road was pre-watershed, I couldn't swear. And as I was going down the climax of the roller coaster, I just shouted "fuck" really loud, and the camera was literally here on my face. So I said to the director, I can only do it once because I'm petrified. And then obviously when I came back in, all the crew were laughing behind the monitors because I have to do it again. So that's the most memorable moment of when it was funny, but I was also terrified.
I feel sorry for you as roller coasters.
Oh, Darcy, you're such a legend. I actually have a question.
You.
I actually have a question for you.
Who's this so I can pop them on?
Oh,
it's Dylan Lewis.
Sorry.
Then let's go and find you, and then we'll put you on the screen.
One question for Darcy. If you was in the Jack Rimmer era, what would happen? What would have happened if you were in the Jack Rimmer era?
As in, what would have happened to Laura? I think similar, because I think all the head teachers kind of had a similar flair to them that they cast. So I think they were all. I think she'd have probably got up to the same stupid stuff that she did anyway. Maybe she'd have possibly been excluded for longer, but I I think she'd have just been the same under that head teacher, I feel.
All right, nice one.
Thank you, Dylan. If we go over to Brooke Potter, who's on the screen now, if you'd like to click unmute and then ask your question. And we'll keep making our way through everyone who's got their hands up, so you will get the chance to ask. Are you there, Brooke?
Who was your favourite member of cast?
Favourite cast member. Let's go to George Sampson for that one. Who was your favourite cast member?
Why you gotta come to me? Can't answer that. Don't have favourites. Don't have favourites, man. Just everyone was a vibe. You gotta remember, we were all of similar age. Basically kids or young adults. You know, thought we were cooler than we were. Filming a cool TV show. We were all mates. But I didn't favour anyone for no specific reason. I had people that probably didn't favour, but I didn't have like people that did favour. But I will say that everybody in this call are sound. Sound.
Thank you very much, Brooke. We've got here Woo Jade Berry Pickle. How are you? Who's your question for?
It's for everyone.
Awesome.
Do you have any tips for a newbie? Because I have an audition coming up.
So who would like to answer that one? Tips for a new actor who's got an audition coming up? And let's go to Reece.
Hello. Sorry, I was just on mute then. So you've got an audition coming up. First thing first is rehearse the character, so understand the storyline. Once you understand the storyline, obviously get an understanding of your character, what the whole purpose of that character is in the scene, and then think of things that you can do to emotionally affect that person in the scene. There's going to be many people that are probably going for this role, so try and capitalize on moments within that scene that you can really make an impression. Confidence is key.
Thank you so much, Reece. Now we're going to bring on John Duncan, who's on the screen. John, would you like to ask your question?
Hello.
Hey.
What was everybody's favourite scene in the show?
So if we go to Sadie, just quickly go to you for favourite scene. I think we've had this one. I'm not sure if you've answered that yet.
Kind of. I mean, I'll go for another one then. You know, the another favourite scene, but it was, again, I keep going really like to all the horrible ones, was the one where Ralph was attacking Marley with the golf club. It's one of my favourite scenes because of how believable it looked. Like, and even in it felt real. It was really kind of scary. So I'm going to go for that scene.
Thank you very much. Let's bring on Curtis, who's on the call, who's got a question to ask. How you doing, mate?
Hello, I'm all right. You?
Yeah, good, thanks. Who's your question for?
For everyone.
Awesome.
So what was your like favourite moment?
Favourite moment. So Anna, if we put that one to you, what was your favourite moment?
Thanks for that. I think in general, I think, yeah, I'm gonna go for not a moment that was a moment, but like a moment for me was probably the first read through when I actually just met everyone, all the other cast, and obviously I was a fan of the show before, so it was really crazy just to be in the same room as some of the legends and just realizing that I was going to get to work with them all. So yeah, I think that was the first moment it felt real for me, and that stuck with me for sure.
Thanks, Curtis, for getting your question in. The next one we're going to go to now is Zainab. So we're just going to bring you onto the screen. Hey, how are you? You look really excited.
Thank you. I've been waiting for so long. Thank you.
Who's your question for?
So my question is for everyone.
Hey guys, so if we can mute the microphones until we pick you on, just so we don't get any
mate,
background
sort your
noise.
ass out. Come on, sort your ass out.
I'm sorry. So my question is for the entire cast. What would you be doing right now, like as your character has left school? Where do you see yourself right now after school and everything?
That's a really good question. Who wants to hop on and answer that one? So where do you see your character now after you've kind of left school and in this day and
In
age?
prison. Easy. In prison.
Married to Marley with a few kids.
Reece?
Probably in a Young Offenders Institute.
Darcy?
Oh, this is hard. I think Lauren would be doing big things. I think she was pretty intelligent, so hopefully she'd have gone and maybe a lawyer because she was very fair and just.
And Anna?
I think Ruth has probably gone into politics or something like that. She's telling people what to do.
Thank you for a brilliant question, Zainab. We're going to go over to Katie Parks, who's on here now. How are you?
Hi, I'm good, thank you.
Thank you for coming on. Who's your question for?
For Darcy. Lauren was my favourite character. What did you like most about your character?
Hi, Katie. What did I like most about my character? So I think I liked that she had a fun side, but she was also quite vulnerable. So that was fun to play. I liked the type of friend that she was to people, especially during obviously her biggest storyline she was probably involved in was Sambuca's death. So I think during that time you couldn't have asked for a better friend than what she was. So I think those are the qualities I liked about her the most. And just that she got up to a lot of fun stuff. Like she was fun to play and fun to film, like her quick comments that she had with teachers. And she just kind of, she was just fun all around to play because like I said, she was vulnerable. So there were some scenes where you could show her more emotional side, but then on a day-to-day, just playing, I used to get scripts through sometimes and they just used to make me laugh with what she got up to. So yeah, I just liked her all round.
Brilliant. Thank you, Katie. For those of you in the chat, don't worry, we'll get as many questions asked as possible. I'm loving looking at Reece on camera because he's so in love right now. And he's like just having his best life in his car. Aren't you, Reece?
I've been waiting to go in M&S.
Waiting to go in M&S. Nice. Who are we going to bring? Sean, let's bring you onto the screen. Who's your question for? Hey, buddy.
It's basically aimed towards everyone. What was your least favourite scene to film? Like, which scene did you really not like filming? Because
anyone who should we throw that over? Reece, what was your least favourite scene to film?
Getting hit by a coach, Lewis.
You weren't there though, were you? For that one.
I was there. I got hit by the coach.
Oh, well, it wasn't a good one for you because you died and everyone was really pissed off about it.
Does anybody remember that falafel fight we had to film?
What?
Do you remember that in the school hall and we had to throw falafel around? It was disgusting. I can't eat falafel ever since.
I remember that one.
It was disgusting. I've never ate falafel since. The smell of it was awful. I was covered in it. That was probably my worst scene I ever had to film. I hated it.
Sean, thank you very much. We're going to bring Stuart on now. For those of you that have had your question asked, if you're able to take the hand off Zoom, and it will just make it easier for us to go across to make sure everyone gets their question. So if you've had one asked, if you remove the hand,
it's the new one.
Then we can make sure. So let's say hello to Stuart. Stuart, there we go.
Hi, Lewis.
Hey, mate, how are you?
I'm all right, yourself?
Yeah, good, thank you. Who's your question for?
So my question is for everyone. What was the funniest moment that happened to you whilst filming?
Funniest moment. Let's go to George.
Don't know, a bit like what Darcy said earlier. It's hard to remember any specific time where something was overly funny. To be honest, we generally just had a laugh anyway. And well, not so much while filming. We were trying to be professional, some of us. but certainly, you know, off filming and in the green room and stuff, it was always a laugh. Plenty of jokers and big characters around. So just generally speaking, everything was a laugh. But I can't pick I couldn't go possibly and pick a moment of something that's particular that happened that was very funny, because talking the span of 3 years or over 8 years ago, I can't remember.
Well, thank you very much, Stuart. And we're going to bring Sarah Bush on now. So Sarah, hello, and who's your question for?
Hi, this is for everyone. And first of all, I would like to say hi to Sadie, because you're my favourite character, like Flick and also Darcy and stuff.
Hi, Sarah.
Hey. Hey, Darcy.
Hi.
So my question, I got like a couple, but I got, how was it playing a character that is different to your normal life?
Well, I think we should go over to Sadie for that one and let your favourite character answer that question for you.
Thank you for that question, Sarah. I guess, well, that you find the similarities between you and the character, that helps you you find things that you can relate to, and that helps you make it more truthful. So there were aspects of Flick that were similar to me, and then there were aspects that were different. So what was the question again? Sorry.
It's okay. It's like, how was it playing a character that is different to your normal lifestyle?
So really, it's about like putting yourself in. You create the character and you try and make them as believable as possible, and you put yourself in their shoes and see the world through their eyes. But it's like a merging of you and them. I don't know if anyone else feels like this. Like you bring yourself to the character, so it doesn't feel like it's that different. So yeah, you just. It's so, acting's such a weird thing, isn't it?
Yeah,
like, you just believe it. Like it's make believe for grown-ups. Like it's carrying on being a kid really as a grown-up acting, isn't it? It's playing, and that's the way in to the character. I think. I don't know if that's a good answer or not.
Well,
That's
so
a
question.
good answer. And also, like, I do drama club, and we do like some characters and stuff, and I'm trying to get into the character, and now I'm trying to think like how to get into that character. But also, if I was on Waterloo Road, I would be my own character and like do Musical.ly TikToks all the time.
So think about, when you're playing the character, think about how they might move, and that's, you know, take on their physicality and maybe how they might talk, and then you find little differences to you, and then it becomes like a transformation. So just and just be playful with it, and don't worry what people think, just throw yourself into it. So good luck with those.
Thank you for your question, Sarah. And we've got Tom Milner has joined us, everybody. So we've got another person on the Q&A that you can direct your question to. Hey, Tom.
Hi, mate. How you doing? You good?
Really good. Thank you for hopping on. So we'll bring on now Tom Prince, who I know has been waiting patiently to ask his question. Hey, Tom. I like your background.
Oh, thank you very much, Lewis. And it's great to finally blinking get on and talk. Oh, I've been smoking me e-cig for God knows how long.
Who's your question for?
All of them, in a way.
Go on, then.
What I've been doing constantly for the past, during lockdown, and because there's been nothing else on, and you know what it's like during lockdown, we've been having to watch repeats, haven't we? Because all the soaps stopped, didn't they? So I was constantly watching Waterloo Road, and I've pretty much just finished season 10. Pretty much.
Tom, George thinks you're a hero, by the way.
Oh, thank you, George. I think you're
Come
a
on,
hero
Tom.
too.
Come on, Tom. You're the guy.
Although, George, I've got to admit, I did have a crush on you when you were in Waterloo Road.
Stop it.
I actually did. And I still
Stop it,
do.
you. Stop it, making me nervous.
And you're one of them I've got a question for, actually.
Go on, my mate.
If you could go back to Waterloo Road, would you change anything?
No, no way.
Are you going to say?
What, for the character or for me? For neither.
For the character.
No. I think Kyle. He had a good stint in Rochdale. Obviously, we had a cameo in Greenock as well in Scotland, which we're not going to talk about.
No, I don't like it when it went up to Scotland.
Yeah, we went up to Scotland for an episode, and I think that was nice. It was nice to come away and come back and see what the show would become when we left, and it had left Rochdale. That was nice, but I think after that, and after Tom Clarkson's death, I think that was the right time for Kyle to go. And yeah, I was ready to go. So no, I wouldn't have changed anything, mate.
No, I've got to admit, I really went off it from season 8 and after Tom Clarkson's death. But
sorry about that, bro.
Yeah, so that was your question.
Slippy hands.
My other question is to date Darcy. If that's all right with this. Darcy, honey.
Hi.
Now, obviously, I have what Sambuca had that time with Tom.
Right.
Seizure. Because I myself suffer from epilepsy.
Okay.
Now, in a way I need help here. Would it be good, because I'm wanting to become a teacher myself, and this is all down, and this is what I'm thankful to you lot, because you lot are the ones who inspired me to become a teacher.
Well, that's a very big honour. Thank you.
You're very welcome. That includes you, George. And would it be a good idea if someone had epilepsy and became a teacher? Because I know people in my area where I live are so discriminated. Oh, Tom, you shouldn't be a teacher. You suffer from effing seizures and all that.
You go for it, Tom. And you ignore everything they tell you, mate.
I don't think anything should hold you back. If that's what you want to do, you will do it. If you have the determination to do it, I wouldn't let what anybody else says stand in the way.
You go for it, mate. And if they tell you that again, you tell them my mate George said, piss off.
Yeah.
Right.
George, he's going to go and tell people to
Sorry.
to piss off now. Tom, I've got to say, you've been one of the best ones that we've had so far. You've been a good ray of sunshine. Thank you so much for asking the question. We'll try and come back to you a little bit later. But let's get Emily Billum.
Lewis, sorry, mate. I need to interrupt. I've got 5 puppies downstairs, and I can hear them kicking and screaming. And I'll be back. I'll be back if I just need to go sort them out, mate.
Bring a puppy. Bring the puppy.
Yeah, we want to see a puppy, George. Puppies. Hello, Emily. Hey, Emily, can you hear us? There we go. You need to unmute your microphone if you want to ask a question.
Can I put it into chat?
Of course you can. If you put the question into chat, and we'll get it read out, and let us know who it's for, and we can ask it for you. So we're just waiting for that question. She's typing now. We'll come back to that question in just a moment. So now we're going to go to, I'm not sure what your real name is, but Galaxy A50. How are you? Can you hear us? Hello? George is back with the cutest puppy as well. We can see a cool picture in the background from Galaxy A50. Can you hear us? We can't hear you at the moment. Right, we'll come back to you in just a moment. George, that's the cutest puppy.
It's not, mate. It's just escaped its crate. It's running around the living room going mad. That's what I could hear. It's not a little bugger. All the rest of them are asleep, and this one's just running around the living room causing chaos. So she can stay here for a little bit.
Taylor, we've got Taylor on now, so we're going to ask a question. You can ask your question. Here we go.
Okay, this is for everyone. I've got two. One is, which one is your favourite series to be in and overall? And that's for everyone to answer. Really.
If we go to Tom, because Tom's not answered one yet, so we'll put that question to Tom.
Okay, yeah.
Hi everyone, by the way. This is great. George, your puppies are cute, mate. Best series that I did. Do you know what? They were all great. The prison episode where us bad lads went to prison, we got to go away. So we filmed in Rochdale, right? We got to go away as like 5-6 lads for the first time. And we filmed in the Bad Girl studio for that episode. So we got to come to London to film it. So imagine me, Tatch, Naveed in a hotel. I think we're in an Ibis somewhere. It was carnage, but like great carnage, because it was like the first time I stepped away from like my home roots and what I was used to, and just to being in this hotel with these 5 or 6 lads having a laugh and being able to film, and yeah, it was just amazing. So I'd say whatever episode that series was, I'd say that was one of my favourite things to film.
Okay, series 3.
There we go, series 3.
Taylor, absolute legend. Thank you for getting your question in. Now we're going to go to Sienna, who's been really patient, waiting to get your question. Hey, Sienna, who's your question for?
Hello.
Hey.
Mine's for everyone.
Go on. What would you like to ask?
What was the reason you want everyone? Can you hear me?
Yeah. What is your question?
What was the reason you wanted to audition for the cast, and how did it make you feel when you got the role?
Good question. If we go to Anna. Anna, that one's for you.
Sorry,
Hey.
I didn't get that. Can I ask that question, Sienna? Oh God, I mean, no brainer. I just wanted to. As soon as that audition came through, I couldn't believe it. I just really knew I needed to get it, because it was just the best show. Like at that time, 2009, 2010, just everywhere. So yeah, I really wanted to be in it. And when I got the part, I remember crying. I remember that much. I was very excited, definitely cried. And yeah, I think I just couldn't believe it for the first couple of weeks, or however long it actually took for me to start. And like I said, going to the first read through and actually meeting everyone, it just kind of hit me then. So yeah, definitely just buzzing.
Thank you very much for your question, Sienna. Now we've got Josh and Lucy who's on. So if you'd like to ask your question, we can't see you. There we go. And we'll get you to unmute. Who's your question for?
Ours is for anyone in general, really. We were just wondering how you guys auditioned for the show and how you got on.
Yeah, like was it through an agency or was it like an open casting call when you first did it?
There we go. Who would you like to aim that individually at somebody?
Yeah, individually, if that's okay.
Okay, Darcy.
Hi, Josh and Lucy.
Yeah.
So when I joined, obviously, because I joined, I think 3rd or 4th season. So mine came through an agency, and there was kind of rounds of auditions. So actually, the way I did it was I actually auditioned for Sambuca initially, and then I didn't book that job, and then because they'd seen so many girls in that age group, they'd obviously whittled a lot of people down, so they'd have people that they liked but didn't book for Sambuca, so they brought a small group of us back to audition for Lauren. But I think for the Sambuca part I must have gone back about 5 or 6 times, but I'm not actually sure if they did do an open casting format. Somebody who joined earlier may know that, but in my experience, it was through my audition came through my agency.
Thank you. And George, if we have you answer that one as well.
I'm same as Darcy. So I had an agent who got me that, and then the reason for auditioning, just it was my first acting job, the sole acting job that wasn't in any way dance related. So it was obviously a no-brainer to get involved in Waterloo Road in such a big show. And yeah, I had an agent at the time, albeit I didn't have an acting agent. And yeah, I got an email. It was the very first one I remember. My agent saying, "Oh, I got this audition for you. They're looking for a Jeremy Kyle-esque street kid who no one's gonna like, and we think you fit in perfect." And I was like, "That's a good start. Great, let's do it." And before you know it, we were on and flying.
Well, thank you so much, Josh and Lucy, for getting your question.
Thank you.
Question in. Sophie, we've got you now to ask a question. How are you?
Okay.
You okay? Yeah. Who's your question for?
Darcy.
Hi, Sophie.
Hi.
You're excited.
How long did it take you to like film the when you were in Waterloo Road? Like, how long did it take like for you to do the whole like series?
To do a series of it?
No, like the whole time that you were in it.
Well, what we basically used to do was we used to film 6 months on and 6 months off. So we used to film for 6 months of the year. I think it was one season actually we filmed for the whole year. But to shoot one series would take 6 months, and then we'd have a 6 months break and then return. That's the standard format that they did it. But obviously it depended. Obviously I wasn't in solidly for 6 months. We'd have different casting on different days because we had 2 shooting units who would shoot separately each day. So I wasn't in. So I mean, some weeks I was in every day, some weeks I wasn't. But overall, I think I was in it 4 or 5 years. I think.
Thank you for your question, Sophie. We bring it back on now. Galaxy A50. We're not sure what your real name is, but I know we couldn't hear you first time. So see if we can get you back to ask a question. Can you hear us? We can't hear you, unfortunately. It doesn't look like your microphone's on. Have you got an option to switch your mic on? We'll come, if you can maybe have a look at seeing if you can get your mic on. We'll definitely come back to you, so don't worry. Let's go over to our next person. We've got Janella. Hello, I know you said you're a bit nervous, so we'll bring you on to ask your question. How are you?
Hi guys, I'm good. Look at my Waterloo Road hoodie. Love Waterloo Road.
That's epic.
It's the best TV show ever.
Oh.
It's for everyone. Right, my question is, what was your favourite episode to film and why?
So if we go to Tom for that one, because I know Tom might have to go shortly, so we'll go to Tom.
I need to run as well, mate.
Yeah, of course.
Kicked off down there, mate. It's like Iraq. I'm gonna have to go and sort the dogs out.
George, thank you so much for coming on. I know it means a lot to the fans, so thank you for being so generous.
Mate. Anytime. Thanks for your questions, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you, George. You're a legend.
No worries, Dylan,
Bye,
mate. Take
George.
it easy. Be seeing you.
Bye.
Bye, George. Good meeting you.
Bye.
No, so
George.
Tom, we'll go to you for that question, if that's okay.
Yeah, favorite episode to film was, I mean, obviously I mentioned the prison episode earlier in terms of series, but I think the best episode to film was one of my first. It was with Tatch, and it was just him beating me up. We had to get like a stunt coordinator, director in to just choreograph this fight. And it was just me and him just having an absolute laugh, really. But I had to get all padded up as well because he was throwing me against railings and things like that. So it's really cool just to be able to be thrown around, if that makes sense. Not that everyone wants to be beaten up in the life, but it's just really cool. And to be able to work with Tatch, like I love the guy, and we'd done a few auditions together as well. So the fight scene was one of the first scene we filmed together. So to be able to go through the auditions to then get the job with him, and then to just go straight away into a fight was was pretty cool. Yeah. I ain't gonna have to go as well. But Lewis, thank you so much for organising this again. Thanks everyone for joining. And yeah, all the best.
Thanks so much, Tom. So what I'm going to do now, I've got this on speaker view, so this is a chance for all of you to get your questions in. So ask away. So if you all unmute your microphones, and we'll let you ask the questions, because I know some of you are not sure how to get the hand up thing on Zoom. So ask away.
Sadie.
Who's speaking?
Dylan.
Dylan.
Yo, can you hear me now?
Galaxy A50, we finally got you here.
I've gone outside.
I'm glad you managed to sort it.
Hello. So, if Waterloo Road was a real school, who would everybody's best friend be?
Good question. Sadie, we go to you for that one.
If Waterloo Road was a real school, who would my best friend be? Like,
so do you mean another cast member? So what other character would her best friend be?
Yeah, like other cast members, like characters.
I'm going to say Lauren.
Oh.
Hello.
Hello, you okay?
Yeah, you still doing food today?
No, because your dad's got that
you.
food. It's in the microwave. You just got to warm it up.
That's the best interruption we've ever had on one of these.
Yeah, well, obviously. I didn't think you'd bother me.
Thank you for that question.
Thank you. What's your name, by the way?
My name's Emily Armstrong.
Emily, thank you so much.
Emily.
Thank you, Emily.
Thank you.
Right, so what I'm going to do is just unpin everyone, and then you'll be able to see who's asking the questions, just to make it easier, so you know who's talking to you. So
you're annoyed at me for not waiting for you.
Next person, ask away.
You know when you're on like,
I got a question.
I'm not going to wait 8 hours.
You said yesterday.
I do cream and chicken rice. Yeah, and I've got all the stuff. And then your dad said about that food, and it would have been wasted. So you can wait one more day.
Right, I'm going to change that, because that idea just didn't work as well as I would have liked. So I think someone's having a slight argument about cooking or something there. So I'm going to go over to the hands again and go to Aaliyah. I'm bringing you onto the call now. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Who's your question for?
My question's for everyone.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, did you guys like ever watch the show back, like, you know, like when it was on telly?
So if we go to Darcy, did you ever watch it back when it was on telly?
While it was on telly, no, I actually didn't, but I have a real big thing about watching myself back on TV. I don't tend to enjoy it, but actually, during last lockdown, because I was getting so many messages from people, obviously because they put it back on iPlayer and they would tell me they were watching it. So I thought, oh, I'll watch some episodes back. And you know what? I really enjoyed it because I had so much time in my hands as well. All my old scripts were at my dad's house. So I went and cleared out some stuff at my dad's house while I had the time. And I found all my old scripts, and I think just reading them back and seeing it again, I thought, oh, I'll watch a couple of episodes, and it was so nice to watch. But at the time when it was going out, I never liked watching myself back. No, so I didn't at the time.
That's amazing. Thank you so much for your question, Elliot. Just want to make sure with the cast, how are you guys for time? Because I know some of you had other commitments, so I don't want to make you feel like you have to stay longer if you've got other things to do. So are you good for time?
I'm good for like another 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Same here.
I was going to say.
So another 15 minutes. So guys, don't worry, we'll do another one of these if we don't get a chance to ask all of the questions, because these guys are amazing. So let's go over to Karina. So we're bringing you on the screen now. If you'd like to unmute your microphone and ask your question.
Hi, can you hear me?
We can.
Hi, sorry, I don't know if this is a question that's already been asked before, because I was in another meeting, so I couldn't really hear what you guys were saying. But I just want to say thank you for being here. And is there anything in your characters' lives or storylines, or maybe in someone else's storyline, that you felt was also a parallel to something happening in your life that made you kind of feel a bit weird while you were filming, or maybe you learned some lessons from your character? Or maybe your personal life fed into how you acted it?
That's a really, really good question. We're going to head over to Anna for that one. So Anna, over to you.
Hi, Karina. Thank you for that. That's a really good question. I think now that I'm older, there probably were some similarities between Ruth and I, in that she was just a bit of a moody teenager that thought she knew best. And I think if you asked me about that, I'd have been like, no, there's nothing similar. But now that I look back, I probably thought I knew best as well. So I think that was that. I wasn't as clever as Ruth, and I'm still probably not now. She was something else. But yeah, similarities back then were probably that I was just as moody and a bit of a know-it-all than she was as well.
Karina, thank you so much for getting your question in. We're going to head over to Scarlett is next. Hey, Scarlett.
Hi.
How are you?
Good, thank you.
Who's your question for?
Anyone, really.
Okay, ask her. What you must have only just started watching Waterloo Road, I guess, really recently.
Yes.
Also, who's your question? What's your question, and we'll get it answered for you.
If you wasn't your character in Waterloo Road, what character would you be? Would you want to be?
Okay, so we'll head over to Darcy.
Hi, Scarlett. I think obviously it's actually a male character, but I might have mentioned it earlier, but I just loved Earl Kelly's role, so he was my favorite Waterloo Road character ever. So obviously if they could have made Earl Kelly female, then I would have loved to have played Earl Kelly. I just think it was a glorious role, and obviously Reece did it absolute justice. So yeah, that is who I would have liked to have been. Could that have been a possibility?
Scarlett, thank you so much for your question. Now we're going to head over to Jack. It says Jack's iPhone. So it's over to you to ask your question. Hey, mate.
Hi. This is for Darcy.
Ask away.
Hi. So you know the episode where where you had your birthmark discovered. So I'm not really good with speaking.
Okay, you're doing well.
How did you feel after that? Because that was the episode where I sort of found out Lauren was sort of not just some chatty sort of chavvy character.
Yeah, that's a good summation of her. What was your question? How did I feel after that? Yeah. So I thought I felt it was a really good storyline to give her, because like you said, she was very chatty. She almost, I think at that stage, she was very quick to almost bully other people. So for maybe their appearance or, what they wore to school, like this, just anything. So I feel it was a good storyline to give her, to show her vulnerability, because although she came across as this very confident and loud character, really when you stripped her back, she had her own insecurities that she obviously didn't show on the surface. So I think it was good because it then set her up to for the other storylines she was in, where she did have to show that more compassionate side. So I feel it was a good storyline for her, and I think it was needed to just crack that hard shell.
Jack, well done. You absolutely smashed that. Thanks for asking your question.
Thank you, Jack.
Now we've got Eva, and I believe it's your birthday today. So let's bring on Eva to ask a question.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Happy birthday. Is it your birthday today?
Yeah, thank you.
Happy birthday. Who would you like to ask a question to?
Darcy, if that's okay.
Of course.
I was wondering, what are your thoughts on Ackley Bridge?
Do you know what? That's a really weird question because I actually watched it for the first time last night. But so that's actually a really good question because it's on at 6 p.m. now, I think, which I never thought it was. So that's actually really straight. It's really weird that you're asking that question. So I think it's a B-Tech Waterloo Road.
Yeah.
In the nicest possible way. But I think obviously it's a great because for us, obviously, I think for the younger generation now who weren't brought up with Waterloo Road, I think it's still a good drama. I like the storylines, and it's obviously still set in the north, which I love. But I do think it has a very similar format to Waterloo Road, but obviously not to be biased, but I think we did it better.
Yeah, it'll never be Waterloo Road.
No.
Eva, thank you so much, and happy birthday. And I hope you enjoy the rest of your birthday.
Thank you.
Let's bring on Matt Brown. Hi, Matt. How are you? If you'd like to ask your question.
Hello, Lewis. How are you doing?
I'm really good. How are you, buddy?
I'm good, thank you. Hello, everyone.
Who would you like to ask a question to?
Oh, to everyone.
Of course.
Please.
And what's your question?
If Waterloo Road came back tomorrow, what series would they do and why?
So we go to Sadie. If Waterloo Road come back tomorrow, what series would you do and why?
Just so to pick any series, which one would I do?
Yes.
I don't think I'd change anything. I think I'd do the one that I did. It was such a special time. It's a time that I'll remember forever. It was a really lovely group of people. I know before you probably saw Tom with all his guitars, like there were quite a few musicians in the cast, and we'd all be jamming and laughing like Darcy was saying. And I wouldn't change a thing. I'd be in the same series, same character, all the same.
Matt, thank you so much for
thank you for the question.
The question. Now we've got Kim. Hi, Kim. How are you? Are you there, Kim? To get a question in? We can't see or hear you at the moment. Right, we'll come back to you in just a minute. Let's see who else we can bring on. We got Patrick. Let's bring Patrick on. Hey, Patrick, how are you? We can't hear you at the minute. Have you got your mic on? No, we can't hear you. See if we can get that working. Let's go over temporarily. We'll make sure we come back to you. We got Kelsey Murphy. Would you like to ask a question?
Just for everyone, really. Do you ever still see each other?
So do you still keep, I know from speaking to some of you guys, you still stay in touch. So let's go to Anna. Do you keep in touch with some of your cast friends?
Yeah, I've seen a couple. I saw, obviously pre-pandemic, I saw Shannon Flynn, and I saw Lauren Thomas as well not so long ago. But yeah, it's nice when you bump into people, sure.
Okay, we're just going to get a couple more in before we.
I bumped into Adam Thomas the other day, which was really nice. That has been just literally like in the street. We saw each other, and I told him about these things that we were doing, and that was really nice. Sometimes you literally like bump into each other, and the acting industry is quite a small world. Yeah.
Hey, Sadie, try and get him on next time for me. That would be awesome.
I will. He was like, oh yeah, I'm well up for that.
Harry.
I will.
Have we got Harry on now? If you'd like to unmute your mic and you can ask a question. Harry, are you there, buddy? Nope. Right, let's see. So guys, anyone else want to ask a question? If you do, you just raise your hand on the Zoom thing. Because I can't. Here we go. Sorry. we've got Jodie. Jodie and
My
Molly,
question-
let's bring you on.
Yeah, my question is, out of like all of the actors, which one was the one that forgot their lines the most?
Well, I'm going to let anyone jump on to answer that question. Yeah. Anyone want to jump on and take that one?
Oh, I was going to say, I feel like I personally forgot my lines all the time. I don't know if I'm just looking back at that badly, but I think because Ruth was just going on about some stuff that I didn't understand at the time, I just found it quite difficult sometimes to remember. So I'm going to hold my hands up and say me.
Very honest. I want to go back to Patrick just before we go, just to see if he's managed, because I want to make sure that he can get his question. Can you hear us now? We still can't hear you. Patrick, type in your question in the chat and I'll ask it now for you, so at least you can get a question answered. What's it been like for you, Darcy, getting the fans ask you questions? And I mean, it must be kind of cool for you guys, because you never actually get to meet everyone in one big lot like this.
Yeah, it's been lovely, but I think it's especially nice that I think it was Scarlett who asked the question before, he was really young. I think it's so nice that it's not just, obviously, because I can obviously see there's some fans on here who've been here from the beginning, but that it's still attracting that younger generation who are still watching it, who probably weren't even born when we first started filming. So it's so lovely just to see that it's obviously transcended time, I guess, which is really nice. But it's so lovely to meet everybody, and I've seen people tagging me on Instagram that when they're screenshotting it, which is so nice. I'll make sure I repost them. But yeah, it's been really nice. But obviously, thank you again, Lewis, because obviously without you, none of this has been possible, and it's been so lovely for us to be part of it. And I'm sure it's been so lovely for the fans to have that opportunity as well.
Well, thank you all so much for taking part. Just very quickly, Patrick wants to know, because his mic's not working, but he says, and I'm going to ask all of you just before we go, what's all of your biggest fears? So starting with Darcy, what in the whole world, what's your biggest fear?
In the whole world?
Yeah.
Oh, probably heights, but I have to get over it. Apart from getting too dark, I have some very dark fears, but we won't do that today. But I think I'm afraid of heights a lot. Like I said, like I mentioned, that storyline where I had to obviously go on a roller coaster at the top of the Pepsi Max was one of the worst things I've had to do. So heights, I would say, for me, is my biggest fear. Yeah.
And Sadie, what about you?
Mine would probably be sharks, but then I love them as well.
But you love them, but they're your biggest phobia?
Yeah, I always think about just like a shark. It's like gobbling me up. But then in terms of like acting stuff, I guess like being on stage forgetting lines, that's really scary, because there's nothing you can do, there's nowhere you can hide. So something going wrong on stage is scary when there's a live audience there all watching you.
And then Anna, we'll go to you.
Thanks, Patrick. I think no, I don't think I know. Mine's spiders, 100%, hands down. Terrified. Absolutely can't be in the same room at all.
Exactly the same. Guys, I want to say a massive thank you to all of you for taking part, and hopefully we can do another one of these for those that couldn't get a question in. Just before we go, I do want to say a big shout out to Darren that's on the screen. So Darren runs the Big Waterloo Road Facebook page with nearly 7,000 members, and he literally dedicates his entire time to make sure that there's content going out to help people with their mental health, and keeps the show going. So Darren, I'm not sure if you can hear me or see me. You are on our screen at the moment, so well done for everything that you're doing on the group, because I know you're keeping the show alive. Are you there?
Hey,
how are you? Legend for what you're doing.
I'm okay,
on the page.
Thanks, Liam. Thanks, Lewis.
No worries, buddy. And Charlie, well done for everything you're doing with the interviews. I know that Sadie had a good time on your show, and Darcy and Anna, if you ever get a chance to go on his show, I definitely recommend it. He's a brilliant host.
Yeah, definitely.
Lewis,
Yeah.
is it alright if my twin just asks a question? She didn't ask it when
Of
I was
course.
going to ask it.
We'll quickly bring you on.
Who inspired you guys to become actresses and actors?
So we'll quickly put that one to Darcy.
Oh, I knew you was going to come to me. Do you know what? Actually, mine was performing. I think just in general, it wasn't specifically acting as such. But when I was younger, I absolutely loved, because she has the same name as me. I love Darcy Bustle. I was obsessed with her. Obviously, she's a ballet dancer. So it was performing in general for me. I think that's where it started. So I started doing dancing before I actually started acting. And I think the whole creativity of just performing then just came into acting. So I would say, but my inspiration for actually getting into creatives and performance was Darcy Bustle.
And Sadie, what about you? That's a really good question. I love that. I wouldn't have expected it, so I'm going to go to Sadie and see what yours is.
I love that answer as well. Yeah. It's a great question. So I was always performing as a child. I started acting very young. I was 12 when I got into professional work. So I was always storytelling and performing. But if there was somebody specific that I was looking up to as a child, it would have been Anna Friel, who's an incredible actress. She was in Brookside and she's done loads of really great things. Marcella, she's my dad's her godfather, so she was around our family circle, and I just always remember looking up to her and thinking she was amazing and just wanting to learn from her. So yeah, I'll say Anna Friel.
Well, Andy said he remembers her from Brookside. But we'll go to Anna finally to answer that question. What's your answer for that?
So mine is, I was of the age where I grew up watching like the Harry Potter films, and obviously it was a really young cast, and I just remember when I watched them, I was just like, oh, what a cool job getting to go and be a wizard and getting to act. So yeah, I loved the idea of being an actor, and I just wanted to do it from that.
Well, thank you to the Hill Twins for that incredible question, and thank you for this, everyone, for coming on to the Q&A. I know we had loads more that wanted to ask questions, but just purely for time, we will do another one again, and I'm sure these incredible people on the screen would be up for later in the year coming back on and answering some questions. So thank you to all of you for taking part. Thanks to Darcy, Sadie, Anna, of course, George, Tom, and everyone else that took part today. So thank you for doing this Q&A, because I know it means so much to the fans.
Thanks, Lewis.
Thank you, Lewis.
Thanks,
Please,
everyone.
without you, this would.
Oh, thank you so much.
What a legend.
Oh, cheers.
Thank
you
very much, Lewis.
Thank you.
And I've one question for Sadie.
Thank you.
Go on, Dylan. I'm happy to stay.
Okay, Sadie. If you could be in any American animation film, what would it be?
Soul.
Nice one. I like Soul. I like Pixar as well. Good films.
Great question. Yeah, Soul blew my mind. I loved it.
I've got Disney Plus and it's amazing.
Well done, Dylan. Thank you for getting your question. And this will be available on YouTube next week, so you can all watch it and see you asking the questions. And we will do another one with some different cast members. So thank you to everyone for taking part in this today.
Thank you. I've got a question for you.
You can fit.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, everyone.
I got
Anna.
I haven't seen it, I'm afraid.
I love it. Neil Morrissey's in it.
Oh,
it's so good.
The Builder.
I've seen every single episode at the moment.
It's so nice to meet you, Anna, because we were in
we didn't work
different
together.
series.
Lovely to meet you too.
It's really nice to meet you.
I was a fan of you and your storylines. That's what I mean. Like before, I wasn't in it till series 6, so I grew up watching like your storyline.
Oh,
so this is lovely.
Thank you.
Oh, Anna, you're a legend.
Oh, thanks, Dylan. So are you, mate.
I have one more question for you, Anna. Just one more, because I've not asked you yet. How does it feel like being in only one era and one series?
Oh, you know what? It is strange because obviously most people, especially most people that are on it, were in like quite a few series, but I kind of popped in and then disappeared again. But I think it's still really nice because people still seem to remember the character and the storylines. I think that helps with, like, you know, the whole Jonah and Cheska thing. People love that. So yeah, like, even though it was only a short space of time, I still feel just as much as the family of the I feel like I'm just as much a part of the family as everyone else, because it's such like we've got such great fans. So yeah, short but sweet, I think.
Nice one.
Yeah.
I've got a question.
I'm actually going to have to shoot. I'm really sorry, but it was so lovely to meet everyone. I'm sending you all.
It's so nice to meet you.
Anna,
Nice
Sadie,
to meet you.
nice to meet you.
Bye.
Bye.
See ya.
Bye,
Thank
Anna.
you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Anna.
Sadie, are you sticking around, or because I think you're going to be?
Well, I think I saw a few people in the chat box say that they had a question for me, so I don't mind staying and waiting until they've asked.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
I've
don't
got
mind.
a question. Sorry, I don't know if I'm
Sadie.
interrupting.
It's all right, Jack. Go ahead.
Yeah. So I've just been wondering. So after you and your character Marley left, what would you have liked to happen? I'm kind of interested because Marley is the only one of the only siblings sort of still standing, which is actually quite sad. And I'm just wondering, you know, what do you think it would have been like, you know, just after all that?
That's true. That's really sad, isn't it?
Yeah.
What do you mean? Do you mean what happened to us after the series? What do you think we went off and did?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
where?
Like, what do you think?
I think Flick would have got away from her dad because there was no like reasoning with him. He couldn't see. He was like completely blinkered, and he couldn't see that Marley was actually really good for Flick. So I think they would have gone somewhere together, either somewhere else or maybe Flick. Yeah, I kind of feel like they went off traveling, maybe, and I believe that they were soulmates. So that I think they will have stayed together and done like stay together forever. So and had a family maybe, but yeah, maybe Marley would have felt like he should have returned to help the others. So I don't know. It's a really good question.
Lewis, is it all right if I ask Sadie one quick question just before I obviously draw us to a close? I don't want to.
Of course, yeah, of course, Chris.
Sadie, thank you so much for answering my question earlier. It's really so kind, and thank you for staying on. It just shows just how important you are as a member of the cast, and the way you want to share just everyone's love for the show, which I think I just grew up watching for years and years. When you look at Waterloo Road and you look at everything that comes into the show, the actors, the plot line, the choice of music, the choice of tunes that come into every scene. So whether it's a brawl up in a city, or if it's a calamity disaster when Tom Clarkson dies, that for me personally just leaves me completely starstruck. What is it for you, Sadie, that makes Waterloo Road different to other dramas?
I think that it's very real, and that they didn't shy away from quite difficult storylines, that it was very important with the storylines that were written and that were portrayed by the actors. I think that's why it has such a strong fan base, because people can relate to it and it helped people. So there's so many different things going on that for people watching, there'll be some things that are happening maybe to them, and and so I think it was just an important show, and that's why it stood the test of time, and that's why it's still like we're all still talking about it right now. Like, it's so long ago, and sometimes when I'm looking back, it's hard to remember everything, but the memories that I have are so strong. Like, it was so special. The there's just those unique moments as an actor where you know that you're in something that's like, you know, one of a kind, and to just hold on to it. Like I'll never get a Waterloo Road again. I'll never have that moment of being in something quite like that. So it's very, very special.
Sadie, thank you so much for answering that question. And Lewis, I'm going to head off now because I think there's maybe a few more people asking questions. Just thank you, Lewis, for putting this together. You are an absolute star, and you know, put so much time and effort into this, and I think you really have brought, you know, a family where, I'm not going to lie, I think this has been one of the toughest years our country's faced together, and the way you just bring people's spirits up by bringing something like this to life is just an absolute ace. So thank you.
Chris, thank you so much. That means a lot. Andy, I'd like Andy to come on and ask another question. I know he's got one for Sadie. Hi, Andy.
Yeah. Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi, Andy.
Hiya. Yeah, I'd like to know more about actually the filming of when your crazy dad totally demolished the school. Did the cast see any of that being filmed, or was it literally totally separate, or did you see him go crazy?
Yeah, we saw him go crazy because the school was really being demolished. I don't know what it's been turned into now, but it was really being demolished. So,
it's houses.
is it houses? So
I've seen you on Google.
He did demolish it. So it was actually really sad. I found it quite emotional watching that moment as me, as the actor, as and Flick. Like, that's what I meant before about you join together, like it's me and Flick at the same time, like so watching that as an actor, the school being destroyed, it did feel like the end of an era. And it was,
so it felt like you weren't acting, your real emotions, just like, oh my god, what's going on?
Yeah, and it was for me because it was the end for me. So yeah, it was powerful, that moment. Great question.
Andy, thank you so much. Charlie, well, Sadie, you know Charlie, of course, he's got a question for you.
Hi, Sadie.
Hi, Charlie.
So I was just wondering, like, how did it feel to walk onto the Waterloo Road set for the first time?
It was goosebumps. It was very, very special because I'd been watching it. I cried as well when I got the part of Flick. So I know Anna was saying about that moment of getting the part. I was just like blown over that it was happening. And then, yeah, that first day on set was so exciting. I couldn't sleep the night before. Again, just being there and being in the school, because it was a real school. It all felt so real. And meeting everybody, yeah, it was very special. Had the butterflies.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Charlie. And I loved your interview. I loved the interview with you that we did. So I definitely recommend anybody to go and check out that interview. And I loved
it too.
I tell a ghost story.
I haven't watched it yet. I need to watch that actually.
That was my first one, Charlie.
Oh, thank you.
I've got another question. Can I ask it, please?
Yeah, I'll stay for a couple more, just as long as everyone feels like
I've got one more question after.
I've got one more.
I think it is.
Okay.
Guys, if people have asked kind of more than a couple, if we let some that haven't, just if we save 5 more minutes just for Sadie, so yeah, bless
for everyone, so you all get your, like, I don't know if you've had dinner or whatever you're doing tonight. Yeah, and then if you feel like you've still got a question, just find me on Instagram and just drop me a message. But yeah, I'll stay for a couple more.
I actually have to leave now. I have my little boy to put to bed. But thank you very much.
Thank you, Naomi.
Excuse me, I have to go now.
Just a quick thing before I go. I just wanted to say thank you for everyone, and it's been a pleasure talking to you all.
Thank you.
Thank you, Liz. Bye.
Thanks,
I've got another question for Sadie. I don't know who. If
go ahead, Jack. No problem.
All right, and so just if you watch the show, who'd be your favorite teacher?
Steph.
Yeah, I like how laid back she was. Like, she just was like, I don't care, do whatever you want.
She can't control the class if she tried. I'm not being funny. She's like one of my PE teachers cannot control the class if she tried.
I just love her though. I think it's because I also love Denise. Like Denise is just amazing. And I've worked with her twice now and she's just so funny and yeah. And so I love the character that the character that she portrays. So I'd say Steph Haydock.
Thanks, Jack.
Sadie?
I've got one more question for you, Sadie.
Ask a question after because I have to go.
Yeah. Okay. So is it? How do I say your name? Sean. Kian.
Hi. If you had to be any character from season 1, like any character, male, female, staff, or pupil, who would you be?
Jack Rimmer.
Oh, he was nice.
He's great.
Yeah. I really like him as an actor as well. So yeah, I'd say him. What was the? Thank you for that question, Kian.
Sadie?
Right.
Yes.
What's your favorite part of season 4?
Oh, there were 2 questions at the same time, so let's do them separate. Is it
If
Lola
we go
first?
to if we go to Jodie and Molly because they've got to go, then we'll come back to Lola. So Jodie and Molly.
Which actor or actress were you most closest to, and do you ever think there'll be a Waterloo Road meet and greet?
Oh, I'd love to do a meet and greet. Maybe that would be something really special to do in the future. Maybe, yeah. Maybe we could make that happen.
It is
coming.
It is coming.
Post-COVID, obviously, but like that'd be sick.
Is it coming, Lewis?
It is coming, yes.
I'll definitely be there if something like that's happening. And in terms of the person I was closest to, obviously I was really close to Luke, who played Marley. We were really good friends. But I'll say Reece Noy, who played Earl. He's the one I've seen the most. He lived with me for a bit. He played the most evil character, but he is the sweetest soul. He's such a good person. And I just love him to pieces. I love him so much. Reece.
Lola, if we go to you now, because I know you had a question.
Yeah. What's your favorite part of season 4?
So before I was talking about all quite like heavy scenes, quite a lot of the like drama stuff. I'm gonna say that my favourite was the scene with Philip and the knicker, or was it the bra, the underwear?
It was both.
Yeah, that was really funny. That was really hard to genuinely be cross and not just laugh at that.
What's
Flip was really angry.
What's your favorite pupil and stuff?
Sorry, what was that one?
What's your favorite pupil?
Favorite pupil? Janice.
Janice, I love that. Very quickly before we go to Neem. I hope I'm saying that right again, but I've just got a question for you just before we go.
So this question isn't actually related to what you're asking for you, Sadie, but I know you transitioned into music after acting and Waterloo Road. What made you do that, and how difficult was it to transfer from acting to music?
So that's a really lovely question. Thank you for asking about my music. So music's always been there. Again, since I was a child, I was always writing songs, and I started on the piano first, and then I played the guitar. So music and acting went side by side for many years, but then I never actually did anything with my music. So I had lots of songs that I'd written, but it took me almost getting a bit older to the point where I didn't care as much what people might think, and I had to get past the fear of sharing it, of what people might think. And that's why I crowdfunded to make the album. And
I saw that.
Thank you. Yes, I'm happy that that's out there. And I'm still acting, so both are going along at the same time. And I just found out yesterday that I've got a part in a new thing. So I won't say what it is, but yeah. So there's other things happening. Thank you so much for that question.
Well, thank you so much, everyone. And like Sadie said, if anyone did kind of want to ask something else, if you head over and drop a message on her Instagram, I know that she'll be more than happy when she can to reply and answer questions for you.
Yeah. Thank you, Lewis.
Thank you, everyone.
To everyone.
Thank you, Lewis.
Thanks, everyone.
Cheers for arranging it.
Bye, everyone.